Good morning, Isiah. Thank you very much for your time today at W Radio. And we want to begin by asking you about your interest in the cannabis business. Since when? When do you believe that this interest of yours started?
So my interest in understanding cannabis, hemp, started in the 1990s when endocannabinoid system was discovered inside our bodies. And when you look at the endocannabinoid system, we have CB1 and CB2 receptors that respond and act naturally to the hemp and cannabis plant. And we are all looking for natural products to put inside our body to work well within our body. And what we found with CBD, CBG, CBN for the athlete, it reduces pain, inflammation. Those are some of the big things that you deal with as an athlete. And as I further studied the plant, when you get into the industrial hemp, which is what we're looking at in the auto industry, industrial hemp has so many factors and so many growing opportunities in so many ways that it can impact the environment, impact carbon reduction, and we use hemp as a natural replacement for plastics. So when you talk about reducing carbon, you talk about changing the environment. What we do at One World Products with the growth of industrial hemp and also cannabis, not only does it work well with your body, but it's also what the environment and the world is calling for in terms of carbon reduction.
You know, it calls our attention that a part of the dynamics of this company was that they invited locals from the community to be shareholders. Can you explain to us how this happened? How many shareholders are we speaking about?
We at Isiah International and One World Products, Isiah International, my firm, we work all over the world. We work in Europe, where we have the largest first press of the grape, Champagne. We work with the indigenous farmers and growers. And here in Colombia, we see the same opportunity to work with the indigenous farmers, growers, the Afro-Colombia community. And the reason why we chose to make the farmers and growers partners and shareholders, because when we come into a country, we want to work within the community. We want to employ, we want to provide and help housing, and we want to provide a holistic economic union that all of us could flourish, work in, and be a part of. And fortunately enough for us, during this period of time, the environment is calling for us to work together. The environment and all of industries are saying that by 2050, they want to be carbon neutral and what we have here in Colombia and what I see in Colombia is an opportunity to become the green capital of carbon capture by working with the indigenous farmers, growers in the Afro-Colombia community, and anyone else who really wants to partner with us, because this is a unique opportunity and a unique time that the environment is calling for us to change our behavior, and not only change our behavior, but make sure that we continue to reduce our carbon footprint.
You mentioned that you also work with Champagne in Europe, and we wonder what difference do you see in the growing of the grapes in comparison with cannabis plants in Colombia?
The difference is that they're not that different. The reason why you can call Champagne because it comes from that region is because of the equatorial benefits that the Champagne region has for growing those three specific grapes that make Champagne: the Pinot Blanc grape, the Pinot Noir grape, and the Chardonnay grape. The climate and the soil works great with that grape to grow in that region. The reason why we chose Colombia to grow, because Colombia has the same equatorial advantages for growing hemp, industrial hemp, and cannabis because of the climate, the soil, and also you have the farmers and the growers who understand their soil, who understand their land. And here in Colombia, we can change the lands over 3 times a year. most places where you grow, you can only grow it once a year in terms of the industrial hemp. Here you can turn it over 3 times a year. And what all the industries are demanding for and what they're asking for carbon reduction. The automotive industry is asking for carbon reduction. The packaging industry is asking for carbon reduction. The food and beverage industry, in terms of reduction in plastics, we see hemp as the new plastics. Industrial hemp can move into every single area of our society. Now, how does that benefit Colombia, and how does that help us here in Colombia in terms of moving this crop? As opposed to working with a specific company, we work with industries. So we work with the automotive industry to reduce its carbon footprint, to reduce its use of plastics. We'll work with the cosmetic industry to infuse CBD, CBG, CBN into the cosmetic space. In the medical space, we'll work with THC cannabinoids that have already been shown to be beneficial to the body. So this plant works not only holistically with the environment, but it also works with your body also.
Isiah, if we have you here, we have to ask you about basketball. And we wonder, back when you were in the Detroit Pistons, the playing was a lot more aggressive than what we see today. Nowadays, it's not allowed. The league does not allow the plays to be so aggressive. Do you believe that basketball was better back then, the way it was played, or do you think it's better now?
I enjoyed the way it was back then because there was more defensive resistance. And I enjoyed having to compete against that type of resistance to bring out the best in me as an athlete and as a player. Now the rules favor the offensive player, and defense doesn't get to play as physical and as intense as it used to be. So the game definitely favors the smaller offensive player more so than it does the big player. But I liked it back when we played, when there was much more defensive resistance.
Well, Isiah, thank you so much for your time in W Radio. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for the work you're doing here with the communities, and good luck with your One World Products company.
Thank you, and I look forward to one day when we're all proud of Colombia being crowned as the champion, as the green capital and capture of the world.